What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. Before I begin, I want to say thank you so much to my viewers, subscribers, friends, family, neighbors, everyone across the board, my eBay customers. You are all amazing human beings. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you like what you see and you enjoy the content, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, comment in the comments section below, and hit the bell to receive notifications. Also, I have an eBay store called the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box of every video and short that I upload here on YouTube. I have listed several items that were up for buy it nows that I have relisted for auctions, and many of you that are viewers, subscribers, and supporters of my channel will know why, because of an unfortunate incident that took place. As you know, I had money taken out of my bank account, and this is now the second time that it's happened. So now, unfortunately, I've had to make a very tough choice to list some of my personal items and list them for auction to recover those costs. So thank you for everybody that is currently participating in those auctions. They are going to sell, thankfully, so that's good news for me. I do have some news as far as recouping those costs. I will hopefully be receiving money back into my account either by the end of this coming week or the following week. So it's going to take some time. I'm working on it, folks. When you get knocked down on your rear end, stand up and fight back. Don't just roll over and give up. With that being said, you see various items that I have here, and I've also got to change the scenery because I need a break. I didn't want to be locked up at home or anything like that. So I figure, let me put that energy to good use. We have to talk about this subject because, you know, after what happened with me, I think a lot of hobbyists have been pretty silent about this issue, and it needs to be brought out to the forefront. You cannot live in a false reality. You cannot hide behind your hobbies. Unfortunately, this is the really real world. By the way, I have a guest here. My neighbor's off camera here keeping me company. So if you hear all sorts of laughter and giggling, she's keeping me company, which is cool. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. This is all staying in here, by the way. You see, you have to find your fun where you can find it. You know what I mean? Yeah, see, she's laughing too. But that's cool. But anyway, we really have to get serious about this because you all seen what's happened with me with money stolen out of my account. 4 figures were taken out of my account. I should be in New York and Pennsylvania with my family around now, and that hasn't happened because of the theft that took place with my bank account. I have printed out banking statements for the past, I think, like 8 months, something like that, 9 months. So I'm trying to see where the mistake was made, if it was something on my part, which most likely it wasn't. What happened last time, it was one of these men's health websites that just took it upon themselves to charge my account. And that money was returned to me. And then all of a sudden, again, a second time it happened. But this time it was twice the amount of money, which has now, you know, put me in jeopardy, you know, as far as my bank account is concerned, because now I have to be concerned. Like many of you, a lot of us, thanks to technology and having the ease and comfort of doing things from your home, you know, a lot of our banking information, like here where I live on this property, even my neighbor can probably confirm this as well, that, you know, you put your banking information into these apps and into these websites like PayPal, here with the leasing office, with Duke Energy, right? Exactly. You know, with Geico, with my car insurance and my home insurance. And thank God I have insurance on my apartment. You know, that I actually, well, they required us to increase our liability insurance, but I kind of wanted that anyway, given the nature of just a small fraction of what you see here on the park bench. But the simple fact of the matter is, unfortunately, we live in a world where you see what happened with Charlie Kirk. I've already had people unsubscribe from the channel, probably because they don't agree with my conservative values. As a hobbyist, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. I don't care who you love. You know, the hobbies are supposed to take you out of reality for a little bit, but unfortunately, reality does encroach on all of us, and it encroached on me recently, twice. So I created a new playlist on the channel called Hobby Crimes to demonstrate that LCSs, I know a lot of you either who are sports card collectors like myself, I got my Aaron Judge refractor right there. Some of you are comic book collectors, some of you are Pokemon TCG collectors. A lot of brick and mortar stores, I know many of you have your feelings towards them, but at the end of the day, and again, I'm not picking on Jeff Wilson, because Jeff Wilson, we all have our feelings about him, but at the end of the day, he's a brick and mortar shop. Try to imagine a small mom and pop store or, a family just trying to make an honest living. Like with myself, I had some asshole, come onto my channel and post this really disgusting comment about me. Well, you're a 9/11 recovery worker. You should have all this money. The simple fact of the matter is that I had debts to pay off. I refurnished my entire apartment. I bought myself enough clothes to last me a lifetime. I did the right thing, paid off all my debts, paid off my credit cards. I did all that kind of stuff. Honestly, not many people can be blessed to be able to do that sort of thing. And the rest of it, may my father rest in peace. I told my dad that, I'm going to start my own business. And I took that money, rolled it over into starting my eBay store. And, it's been hit and miss, but at least it's honest and it's on the books and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very happy for that. And you have people that are like myself that sell, various goods on Etsy, on eBay, on whatnot, what have you. And I'm not talking about these high roller, schmucks, for example, like sneakerheads. I got my 2025 Nike Air Jordans sitting right here. We got people trying to flip these for 3x what they're worth. They're only 200 and change, but immediately they get listed for $600. I'm not going to get into that. And you hear her hissing in the background. It's the truth. It's the truth. This is what happens. All of you know that. But, it gets to a point where, like, the more honest you get, the more you become a target. You've all seen what happened with me this year. This year has just been impossible. And somehow, by the grace of God above, I'm still standing up, still standing strong. You saw the acquittal letter that I uploaded on my community page, and I've talked about it, what happened with my ex-girlfriend who was here in this country illegally, and because she couldn't get what she wanted out of me, she made all these accusations about me and sent the cops right here to this property, and my apartment is right there. And what happened? I got dragged through court, I got dragged through the system, and eventually I was acquitted because there was no wrongdoing. And this is the world we live in. When people can't get what they want, or they want something they can't have, or they're attracted to somebody that will never be attracted to them, they turn immediately to theft and violence, or they try to set you up as a criminal. It's happened to me several times over the years. It's heartbreaking and devastating to go through it, but I've survived it all. But now it's encroaching onto the hobby spaces, creating that playlist. You have to open up your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a joke. Even some of the things I have here, like that Aaron Judge refractor, it's an SGC 10. I'm not going to get into dollars and cents, but that's a high rolling card right there. That Sunstreaker, when I pre-ordered that months ago, that's a $100 toy that was imported from Japan. The sneakers, I wanted to get them early. I really didn't want to get onto a line. I know a lot of people said they dropped tons of them, but I decided to pay 1x above the cost, so they ran me like $400, $500, whatever it was. I didn't want to get online. I didn't want to get into arguments. I didn't want to get into any of that stuff, because I know how scalpers and flippers are. All I have to do is tell some of you in the gaming spaces what happened with the Nintendo Mini Classic, the Classic Edition. Same thing with the Super Nintendo Classic. When Toys R Us used to be open right over here, when I first lived on this property years ago, there were people lined up, and thank God I was a second online. We got there at like 4:30 in the morning. And by the time that Toys R Us, which is now closed, that line wrapped all the way around the parking lot. Thank God I got mine. And at least, well, the people down here, I want to say, and I want to give a lot of people credit here, are a little bit more civilized, though. If you've been watching the news lately, you saw what happened with that Ukrainian woman that got stabbed on a light rail. And just recently, up at the very park where I was, and many of you would have seen that short and community post here on my YouTube channel, where a buddy of mine and myself were out there over at where this bar called Valhalla is, where they set up all these flags for 9/11. Right behind that, there was a shooting just, a day or two ago. This is the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately. And now we're starting to see that reality encroaching itself upon the various hobby spaces with local card shops, even with my apartment. For example, I got a brand new security lock that I put on there that I think I mentioned in one of my shorts on my YouTube channel. I've had my windows locked, just in case. And because this is a pro two-way state, I have less lethal means of self-defense. But if somebody breaches my apartment, I have the right to exercise lethal and deadly force. Go look it up. It's a fact, because I know people are going to try to create a false narrative. Oh, he's a racist and he's crazy and he's that. Well, facts are facts, my friends. But I have less lethal means of defending myself, whether it's pepper spray, pepper gel, less lethal pistols, or long rifles in the form of the Pepperball SX or Tippmann 98 Custom. police batons, all that kind of stuff. I'm very well prepared in case somebody tries to do something funny, especially when I'm walking people's cards that they buy off of me to bring to the post office. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm already getting bit by the mosquito squad here. Yikes.
Wait,
but anyway, it's becoming clear that, when it comes to the really real world, unfortunately, you must keep your eyes open. I mean, I've been victimized by this now twice within 30 days time or something like that. And of course, because I am a legitimate LLC selling sports cards and other stuff out of my home, I have to protect myself. I have to protect my interest. I have to protect the interest of my customers that are buying things off of me. Like last night, I dropped off 2 orders that my customers ordered off of me and put them in the mailbox over here late at night last night. And when I go out, I carry pepper spray. I carry my less lethal pepper ball launcher or a combination of the two, because I don't trust anybody outside late at night. I mean, then again, this is North Carolina, and you don't see the amount of crime. Thank you. You don't see the amount of crime that you see like in places like my former home of New York City. But you can't take people for granted these days. As much as you and I want to believe that everybody is good and everybody is kind and everybody's generous and sweet and loving, that's simply not the case. Human nature sometimes can be very violent and vicious. Believe me, I know. But now, unfortunately, when it comes to something that was meant for escapism, and again, I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you do what you want to do. Many of my beliefs are based in libertarianism. You leave me alone, I leave you alone. Don't try to encroach on me, and I won't encroach on you. I know I'm very opinionated about stuff, but, if there's something that can bring us together, like hobbies, I'm all down for it, man. I don't want to see people fighting in the street. Look at all the riots. Yeah, exactly. No, you're good. But, you look at what happened in Chicago with all these people over at the ICE facility. They are there obstructing justice. And ICE agents responded in kind by pepper spraying them, pepper balling them, and launching tear gas at them. This is the world we live in these days, where people just have this obsessive, compulsive need to interfere with the system and with other people's lives. As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman that lives here, I'm not going to mention his name, whose car was robbed, who's a veteran, as a matter of fact, who walks his dogs every day. Him and I politically are not on the same page, but still we're neighbors and we get along just fine. We may not get into real deep conversations. I don't even know if you want to call us friends, but we live on the property, and all of us, I think, and I hope, want to live here in peace and quiet without issues. Am I right?
Yes. Amen.
See, so there you go. And it's like, you can have your differences. You want to be gay, you want to be straight. My next door neighbors are as gay as hell. But when we see each other, we'll have a beer. As a matter of fact, I got a beer right here, thanks to my lovely neighbor here.
No problem.
You know what I mean? And yes, it's a Bud Light, by the way. You're probably going to say, uh-oh, look out, he's a traitor, and
That's
all that kind of stuff.
Beer,
but, I mean, it is what it is. People are going to find their arguments. To me, that whole Bud Light thing has been done for a while at this point. I think they've learned their lesson and all that stuff. So here, cheers. Attack me and make fun of me all you want. It is what it is. It's a what they call a dead meme at this point. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, no, it's true. Watching what's happening in these hobby spaces, watching sneaker stores get robbed. You see smash and grabs happening, in several jewelry stores across the country. I forgot which jewelry store it was and where it was at, but this jewelry store owner decided to get shatterproof glass. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of these hoodlum, riffraff, ragamuffins went into the jewelry store and tried to smash and grab the jewelry, and they couldn't get through. And thank God the store owner had a firearm on him to scare these people off, and rightfully so. This is the world we live in, folks. You cannot deny reality. I've already lost a few subscribers talking about this kind of stuff, but that's fine. You know why? Because they want to wear their furry suits and they want to get into their kiddie swimming pools filled with ketchup and mayonnaise, wearing leather Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny costumes, spanking each other with salami sandwiches. But they have the right to do it. That's what this country is all about. You want to live like that? That's your choice. I'm not trying to tell them not to do it. To me, it's fucking spooky. And it's weird. But it's not my place to tell them what to do. So long as they don't push that stuff on kids and they don't try to impose that stuff on me, I'm sorry, men and women are a fact, whether you like it or not. That's just the way nature and science works. You know, I believe in natural selection and all that kind of stuff. But then again, you don't have to be an asshole about it, going out there bullying people. But I still have a right to talk about it and criticize it and think about it and bring it up. And a lot of people in these hobby spaces, hey man, you want to wear a clown colored hair with rainbows and bull rings in your nose and fish hooks in your face and subdermal things to make yourself look like a lizard and cut your tongue in half and all that crazy shit? Have at it. One of my favorite rap artists is Tom McDonald, and he's tattooed up to his forehead. That's fine. You do what you want, so long as we're not shooting and killing each other like what happened with Charlie Kirk. And now you saw a Fox News fan, two Muslim men were caught trying to put a bomb underneath a Fox News van recently, and now they threatened they threatened RFK recently with a bomb. And this is the world we live in, folks. And imagine, that's because of politics. We're dealing with innocent hobbies. Most of the stuff, and let's be honest, here I am, a 48-year-old grown man, almost 50 years old. These hobbies were meant for kids, in truth. But men like me, and not even men and women in general, the biological type, by the way, in my opinion, you know, we want something to kind of like take us away from all this shit. I mean, how much, it's true. How much more violence can we all deal with? How much more shit on our TVs can we deal with? But the simple fact of the matter is that a lot of these stores are being robbed. Card dealers are being robbed. Comic book shops are being robbed. Pokemon, you know, TCG dealers are being robbed. And it's a frightening proposition, folks. I mean, you have to eventually ground yourself and prepare yourself for this sort of stuff. Now, I'm not telling you to go on the offensive. I'm not telling you to go out and buy arsenals of guns and all that stuff. But you have to be very considerate of the things that are happening around us these days. Even sitting here right now, how do I know somebody's not going to pull up and put a gun to the back of my head and try to take my stuff off the bench here? You don't know that. I don't know that. You can't live in fear either. You have to live your life. I mean, even today, because of what happened, I should be in Pennsylvania right now with my family trying to close out on my father's final stuff, but I'm stuck here, unfortunately, because of what happened with me. But yet, I found the strength to pick myself up, put that energy to good use, and talk about these issues. You got to be careful out there, folks. You can't hide behind hobbies. You can't hide behind this stuff. You know, you can't pretend that the really real world doesn't happen outside your doors. It does. It happened with me now, twice. I've gone through all sorts of crazy stuff over the years, and you all see what happened this year. The before mentioned issue with my ex-girlfriend, who doesn't even belong in this country, tried to have me thrown in jail, or tried to have me criminally charged with stuff, and I was acquitted. You've all seen that acquittal letter. And it's not the first time I've gone through stuff like this where people have falsely accused me of shit. I've been accused of being a 9/11 fraud. They've called my union hall. My union hall told them to go fuck themselves. I mean, you know, it's ridiculous and stupid and pathetic that when you have jealous people out there, you have people that just want things, who don't make any effort to try to work to earn it. It's true. They don't want to get a job. They blame their overweight, you know, obeseness. I mean, I used to be 300 pounds. I'm now 200 pounds. You know why? Because I want to be healthy. I don't want to die of a heart attack or high cholesterol or something like that. Lose the fucking weight. Everybody wants to blame everything on something else, or you have certain people, certain backgrounds, you know, oh, it's the white man's fault, it's Trump's fault, it's Biden's fault, it's Obama's fault, it's Clinton's fault, it's George Bush's fault, it's Jesus, God, the grass, the concrete, this park bench, the birds, a pile of dog shit. It's always somebody or someone else's fault. Look in the mirror once in a while. Maybe it's you that's the problem. You are the problem. I know my flaws. I know myself. I'm not the most handsomest, cutest, square. Oh, stop. Square-jawed guy in the world. But hey, listen, I love myself enough to come outside here instead of keeping myself locked up at home, depressed all day. Yeah. I'm trying to put that energy to good use. And some people just don't know how to do that. And then they go blaming the world for everybody else's fault or everybody else's wrongdoing. What happened with me, there is a solution, and I'm working on it. That's why I make these videos. Every problem has a solution. And I don't want to hear about paradoxes like what came 50 chicken. You're always going to have those idiots out there. What came first, the chicken or the egg? I'm not going to get into the paradox argument, and get into semantics and all that garbage. But yeah, it's true. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know, just be careful and be a little bit more astute as to what's happening around these hobby spaces with these LCSs. You know, some of these LCSs I know get a lot of shit from collectors, whether you're in the sports card space or Pokemon TCG spaces, but they hold a lot of events for kids, families. You know, they have like card swaps, and they'll do like Magic the Gathering tournaments with young people and stuff. So they do offer some good. I know they 2X and 3X. For example, here I got my Corgi USS Enterprise refit that I reviewed on the channel. You know, I paid what I paid for it, but of course somebody's going to 2X it or 3X it, which a lot of LCSs do. This Aaron Judge 2013 refractor, obviously, you know, it's what? Forgive my math here, you know, over a decade since this card came out. It's going to appreciate, what, 12 years, something like that? It's going to appreciate in value. That's just the nature of the sports card hobby. When there's low supply, there's going to be high demand, and then the price is going to appreciate. That's just the nature of things. He-Man's not going fucking anywhere. All right? He is priced what he's priced at. And this is not an original He-Man. This is from the cartoon collection. But I think you all get what I'm saying. Be a little bit more grounded. I love talking about hobbies. I'm not trying to be a Geeks and Gamers here, you know what I mean? Or RK Outpost and all those type of YouTube channels. But you have to be a little bit more cautious and careful about what you do. You know, you have to be careful with your home. You have to be careful with, you know, your personal property. I might start talking about self-defense here on the channel again, if you know, if I get into that kind of mindset. But this is a collector's channel first and foremost. You know, there are little salt-based sprinkles of my political beliefs throughout my videos, but at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, the simple fact of the matter is we live in a really real world. There's no dragons, no elves, no Snow White. You know what I mean? There aren't garden gnomes, there aren't leprechauns, all right? You want to believe in aliens, that's all up to you. But until I see a UFO going like this, live long and prosper, we are what we are. It's the truth. It's the truth. Get fucking real. This bench, this is a bench. It's made out of wood. That's concrete I'm stepping on. It's solid. It's gray. It's dirty. It's covered with leaves. These are simple, basic facts. The sky above me is blue. The clouds are white. My hat is black. That's what it is, folks. Stop denying reality and get fucking real. You know, and there's really not much more to say than just be a little bit more mindful of this world that we live in now, especially after what happened with Charlie Kirk, what happened right here in Charlotte, you know, with this man stabbing this Ukrainian refugee, and what just happened recently at the very park that I was at for the 9/11 memorial where they set up those flags. And I got a short of that park on my YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, if you go to my YouTube shorts, you'll see that in flags. It happened literally hundreds of yards away from us where that shooting just took place. Right by Valhalla Bar and Hooligans Bar. It's a dangerous world, folks. But now that dangerous world is encroaching on these hobby spaces. Get real, folks. Not trying to scare anybody, not trying to frighten anybody. This is the real world that we're living in. Be a little bit more mindful, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to receive notifications. And once again, check out my eBay store. The link is in the description box of every video and short I upload here on YouTube. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. And I will see you all very soon.
Bye.